All men should watch this video. 7 psychological tricks to make any woman obsessed with you. Stoicism, modern stoic. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. Zrenia Ram Das. Here's a thought most guys never consider. You don't need to impress her. You need to understand her. Let's drop the act for a second. No flashy lines, no games. Just a real conversation man to man. Women aren't some unsolvable puzzle. In fact, once you get how they process emotion, attention, and connection, everything starts making sense. It's not about playing a part. It's about showing up with the kind of presence that pulls her in without trying. Today, we're not talking about attraction in the shallow sense. We're talking about the kind that lingers, that makes her check her phone, wondering if you've messaged, that makes her replay what you said, how you looked at her, how you felt to be around. This isn't magic, it's psychology. And most men never learn it because they're too busy pretending to be someone they're not. What I'm about to share are 7 subtle but powerful psychological shifts that quietly flip the switch in a woman's mind. They're not tricks, they're more like frequencies, and once you're tuned in, she won't just notice you, she'll feel drawn to you without knowing why. This isn't about dominance or control, it's about emotional gravity. Most guys come across like noise, but when you know what you're doing, you become a signal. So if you're tired of chasing and ready to be the kind of man she can't stop thinking about, keep watching. You're about to learn what really makes the difference. Number 1. Ignore her beauty. Praise her mind. Stop falling into the same trap that nearly every man falls into. You meet a beautiful woman, and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is something like, "Wow, you're so gorgeous," or "You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." It might feel like the right thing to say. It sounds polite, respectful, even charming. But here's the harsh truth. It's not impressive. In fact, it's predictable, it's ordinary, and worst of all, it's forgettable. Why? Because attractive women hear these compliments constantly. Every man who crosses her path says the same thing. It's like background noise, something she's trained to tune out. So when you lead with a compliment about her looks, you instantly blend in with every other guy who just wants her attention. You're not sparking intrigue or emotion, you're confirming what she already knows. She's beautiful. She's heard it. It means nothing. If you truly want to leave a mark on her, if you want her to remember you, think about you, maybe even become obsessed with you, you need to break that pattern. You need to do what most men never do. Ignore her beauty and praise her mind. That is your first psychological edge. When you choose to look beyond her appearance and notice her intellect, her insight, her creativity, her sharp humor, now you're different. Most men never take the time to really see a woman beyond the surface, but when you do, it triggers something powerful in her psychology. Suddenly, you're not like everyone else. You're someone who notices what others miss, and that kind of man is rare. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So when you hear her say something thoughtful, insightful, or uncommon, react. Lean in, say something like, "Most people don't think that deeply. You've got a sharp mind, and I can tell you really pay attention to things others overlook." That's not just a compliment, that's a statement of truth that hits her identity, not just her ego. It says, "I see you," not just your face, not just your body, you. This is where the dynamic begins to shift. What psychologists call a value reversal starts to take place. Instead of acting like you're lucky to be around her, she begins to feel like she's fortunate to have earned your attention, and that shift changes everything. You're no longer the admirer. You're the mystery, the challenge, and that's what creates obsession. Because now, it's no longer about her looks, which she can't control. It's about how she thinks, how she expresses herself. It becomes about who she is, not just what she looks like. And the most addictive form of validation a woman can receive isn't about her physical beauty. It's the feeling of being truly understood. here's where it gets even more powerful. When you finally acknowledge her beauty, after you've already connected with her on a deeper, more mental level, your words carry 10 times more weight. A simple, "By the way, you're also stunning," becomes a moment she won't forget. It's no longer empty flattery. It's a meaningful recognition coming from a man she respects. Because you earned the right to say it. You didn't lead with it. You didn't need to say it to keep her attention. You already had it. And now your compliment is the icing on a cake she already wants to devour. So here's the bottom line. Don't feed the part of her that every man feeds. Feed the part she hides. Feed the part that wants to be seen, heard, understood. That's the path to real connection. That's the path to emotional addiction. And that's how obsession starts. As Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. When your thoughts go deeper, your words cut deeper. When your focus goes beyond the surface, your impact becomes unforgettable. Don't be another voice in the crowd telling her what she already knows. Be the man who looks beyond the obvious. Be the man who speaks to her identity, not just her appearance. That's the man she chases. That's the man who changes the game. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you complimented a woman on her mind, her ideas, or her perspective, instead of her looks? And how did she respond? I want to hear your story. Drop it in the comments below. Let's talk about what really makes women remember us and what sets powerful men apart from the rest. Number 2, reward her with silence. Let me tell you something most men will never understand. Silence, when mastered, becomes a weapon sharper than any word, more persuasive than any compliment, and more magnetic than any chase. In a world where everyone is screaming for attention, the man who holds his silence radiates power. Not passive silence, not sulking, not immature withdrawal, but deliberate, strategic, stoic silence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." And that's exactly what this is. Strength in restraint. When a woman pulls away, grows distant, or goes cold, most men panic. They text again. They triple text. They explain. They beg. They try to fix something that doesn't need fixing. But the grounded man, the man who knows his value, doesn't flinch. He doesn't chase. He doesn't flood the silence with desperation. He breathes. He lets the silence work for him. And this is where the power lies. Because when used with presence, after you've shown warmth, depth, confidence, your silence feels like a power shift, not a punishment. It makes her pause. It unsettles her expectations. It shifts the emotional dynamic without a single word. Understand this. This is not about ghosting. This is not about withholding affection to manipulate. Number this is about creating space to remind her and yourself that your attention is not a commodity. It is a reward. Only the man who has first made his presence felt, who has shown depth and authenticity, can then retreat and let his absence speak. Like thunder after lightning, the silence only matters if the spark came first. If she never felt your presence, your silence is just emptiness. But if she did, then the quiet becomes loud, the lack becomes longing, the withdrawal becomes desire. You must understand the psychology. Scarcity creates value. The rare becomes desired. When every other man is reacting, talking, texting, chasing, the man who stays still becomes a mystery, and mystery creates obsession. You're not silent because you don't care. You're silent because you've already spoken in your presence, your confidence, your purpose, and now you wait. You observe. You let her wonder. Why isn't he reacting? Why do I miss his presence? You let the silence do what words never could. That's Stoicism in motion. You are unmoved. You are centered. You choose clarity over chaos. You choose discipline over reaction. This kind of self-control is intoxicating. It's rare. And what's rare is irresistible. So how do you avoid being cold? By making sure your silence is born from power, not pain. From confidence, not confusion. You're not ghosting. You're resetting. You're not punishing. You're preserving your peace. And if she reaches out, curious, unsure, suddenly valuing what she once took for granted, then you know it worked. Now she's not just interested, she's emotionally invested. But remember, this only works if you've shown up as a man of value first. Don't be invisible. Don't be emotionally absent. Be fully present, then step back with precision. And when you do, that absence becomes louder than 1,000 words. It whispers the one truth no woman can ignore. I don't own his attention. And that's when she wants it more. That's when the game changes. That's when you become the one she can't stop thinking about. Now, comment below. My silence is power. Like, subscribe, and step into the mindset of a modern Stoic. Number 3. Make her jealous, subtly. Jealousy. A word that makes most men flinch. A word that's been twisted, demonized, and misunderstood. Most men, especially those trying to do the right thing, avoid it like it's poison. They believe it's manipulative, immature, even cruel. But let me speak to you with the voice of experience, the voice of truth, the voice of a man who's seen behind the curtain. Jealousy, when understood and used with silent precision, becomes one of the most powerful psychological triggers you can ever activate in a woman. Not to hurt, not to play games, but to remind her, on a primal level, that you are not just a man, you are the man. Desired, respected, valuable. Let's break something down right now. Most men lose the game the moment they think they've won it. The second a woman gives them attention, they start orbiting her like she's the center of the universe. They abandon their purpose. They stop engaging with others. They cancel plans. They silence their edge. They move from being the hunter to the puppy. And women? Women sense that shift, and they hate it, because deep in their wiring, they're not wired to cherish what comes too easy. A woman wants to earn your attention, compete for your energy. If you remove the need for her to chase, you remove the thrill, and with it, her emotional investment dies. Let me tell you something brutally honest. She wants to feel like you are being noticed by other women, not in a sleazy, showy, immature way, but through your presence, your composure, the energy you radiate when you're fully rooted in yourself, not chasing validation. You don't need to flirt. You don't need to speak about other women. You just exist in high value, and they notice. She sees it. She feels it. She starts questioning, wondering, calculating. Who is he texting? Why did he smile like that after checking his phone? Why do other women lean in when he talks? This is how you subtly create a competitive frame, without saying a single word. That's not manipulation. That's reality. That's biology. That's power. When you stop chasing, you create space for things to come to you. This isn't just about business or success. It's about women, attraction, relationships. Men who chase push women away. Men who stand still and radiate pull them in like gravity. Think about lions. The lion doesn't chase every antelope. He waits. He chooses. That's how you must operate. Command presence. Command attention. Let her feel that being with you is a privilege, not a right. Jealousy, when triggered correctly, flips a switch in her mind. Suddenly, you're not just her man, you're the man other women desire. And that creates a shift. She starts to value your time more. She invests emotionally. She starts texting first, starts wondering where you are. She becomes obsessed, not because you manipulated her, but because you reminded her that your value doesn't depend on her validation, that you're capable, confident, and completely in control of your life, with or without her. This is emotional gravity. Women don't fall for men who put them on pedestals. They fall for men who already walk like kings. But I'll warn you right now, don't take this too far. If you fake it, force it, or flaunt it, it turns toxic. That reeks of insecurity. And women smell insecurity like blood in the water. You must build this from within. Real confidence, real social proof, real purpose. Not just pretending to be busy, being busy, not pretending to be desired, being desirable. And that only comes from doing the real work. Hit the gym, grow your business, master your craft, expand your circle, own your life. When you do this authentically, jealousy arises naturally, not from games, but from greatness. Now let me give you a final truth that most will never say out loud. Men who master subtle jealousy don't just attract women. They dominate the emotional landscape. They become unforgettable. Women remember them, think about them, obsess over them, not because of what they did, but because of how they made her feel. If she fears losing you, she'll fight to keep you. If she feels she already has you, she'll stop trying. That's the brutal math of attraction. So here's what you do. Stay calm, stay composed, stay busy. Don't announce, don't explain. Let your life speak. Let her see that you're moving, growing, rising without chasing, without begging. Because when she senses she might lose you, she'll do whatever it takes to keep you. And that's when you win the game, not by chasing, but by becoming the prize. If this message hits something inside you, like this video. Comment I am untouchable. Subscribe for more truths that will never be taught in school, in soft books, or by soft men. This is not theory. This is war strategy in the battlefield of attraction. Be a man who walks with silence but leaves an echo wherever he goes. Jealousy isn't your enemy. It's your ally if you wield it with strength. Take the edge, hold the frame, and never, ever forget who you are. Number 4. Act like you could walk away anytime. Sit up straight, lift your head high, and listen carefully, because this might be the most important thing no one ever told you. The most powerful man in the room isn't the one who talks the loudest or tries the hardest to be loved. It's the man who can walk away at any time, not because he doesn't care, but because he refuses to lose himself for anyone. That mindset alone separates you from 99% of men out there. Most guys crumble the moment they get a little affection. A few sweet words, a touch of intimacy, and suddenly they're clinging for dear life. They start overthinking, compromising, and doing backflips just to keep her happy. And in that desperation, they give away all their power. Don't be that man. Be the one who sets the standard, not the one who chases it. Remember what Epictetus said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." When you stop imagining that losing her is the end of the world, you regain your strength. Because true strength is not found in holding on, it's found in knowing you'll be okay, even if you let go. When you carry yourself like you could walk away anytime, it doesn't mean you're playing games. It means you have boundaries. You're not seeking validation. You're not emotionally dependent. You're there because she brings value to your life, and if that changes, you're not afraid to move on. That mindset, that's what drives women crazy, not in a manipulative or toxic way, but in a way that makes them stop and think. It flips the script. Suddenly, she's not the prize, you are. That mystery, that emotional independence, it captivates her. Because now she has to figure out how to keep your attention. She's no longer in control of the emotional dynamic, and that's when obsession begins. You're unpredictable, you're grounded, you're not at her mercy, and most of all, you're a challenge. You're the kind of man who doesn't fold just because someone shows interest. And in today's world, that's rare. Most women are used to men who fear conflict, who beg for love, who try too hard to keep the peace. But when you break that pattern, when you say, "I won't settle for half effort or emotional games," you stand out. You gain her respect. You stay in her mind even when you're not around. She starts chasing that feeling you give her because she knows it's not easy to find. Walking away isn't a threat. It's a standard. It's the quiet message that says, "I want you, but I don't need you." And when a woman feels that kind of energy, she leans in. She invests more. She becomes emotionally hooked. Because deep down, what she truly desires isn't a man who gets lost in her. It's a man who makes her want to be part of his world. Let this be your reminder. Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Zrania, Marcus Aurelius. That's what it means to be a modern Stoic. A man with purpose. A man with control. A man who leads with reason, lives with strength, and loves with intention. So if you've ever felt like you gave too much and lost yourself in the process, Share your story in the comments. Speak your truth. You might just help another man take his power back. And remember, every man should watch this video because this isn't just advice. It's a wake-up call. Be the man she wants to keep, not the man who begs to stay. That's the difference between being wanted and being needed. Choose wisely, stand firm, and never forget who you are. Number 5. Break her patterns. Gently. Break her patterns. Gently, but with precision. Most men don't realize it's even happening till they're already dismissed, categorized, and forgotten. Women live in emotional scripts, not just habits or routines, but intricate emotional narratives they've rehearsed for years. These scripts dictate how they expect people to behave around them, especially men. Attention? It follows a familiar pattern. Connection? A rehearsed performance. When you respond exactly how she expects, complimenting her beauty, reacting to her photos, chasing when she pulls away, you're playing a role she's seen 100 times. And, like background noise, you fade. But if you break that pattern, not with force or arrogance, but with subtle, grounded disruption, you become unforgettable. Why? Because you didn't act from a place of need. You didn't seek approval. You gave her something far more powerful: surprise, curiosity, and emotional clarity. That's how obsession begins, not through desperation, but by being the outlier in her emotional world. She expects likes, DMs, validation. She thrives on the dopamine rush of digital adoration. But what happens when you don't play along? You don't heart her post. You don't slide into her inbox. Instead, you notice the book in the background of her photo. You bring up a deeper idea she once mentioned. You reflect something back to her that no one else sees. Suddenly, you're not another admirer, you're a mirror. A man who sees her, not just the surface. And that mirror, that moment of being truly seen. That's where the emotional script shatters. Here's the truth. Most men believe disruption means dominance. They try to be alpha, loud, overbearing, confrontational. But Stoicism, the true kind, teaches the opposite. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional disruption isn't about overpowering her. It's about not being moved by her games. She flirts with others in front of you, withdraws, tests, throws a jab. Most men react. They become needy, defensive, or aggressive. You smile. You say calmly, "That was cute." Trying to see if I'll chase? Then you carry on, centered, detached. That calm refusal to perform, that is power. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that echoes. You break her script by not giving it fuel. And because people are fascinated by what they can't define, she leans in, she watches, she wonders. Why doesn't he respond like the others? And in that curiosity, emotional gravity forms. This isn't manipulation, it's emotional clarity. You're showing her that your sense of self is immovable, unaffected by superficial power plays, that you are the anchor, not the storm, that while others are tossed around by her waves, you remain grounded. As Epictetus put it, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You must embody that. Be unmoved. Be precise. Be different. But don't mistake gentleness for weakness. Breaking her patterns gently doesn't mean passivity. It means mastery. It means seeing through her defenses while never making her feel judged. It means understanding the script, but never auditioning for the role. When she realizes you operate by different rules, not through dominance or submission, but through centered awareness, that's when the real bond begins. Not surface-level attraction, not temporary interest, but obsession rooted in respect. Because you're no longer just another guy. You're the one who didn't play the part. That's unforgettable. So ask yourself, are you reacting or are you redirecting? Are you trapped in her patterns or breaking them, calmly, gently, like a master of emotional aikido? If you want to be the man she can't stop thinking about, start there. Now it's your turn. Have you ever broken a pattern and seen a woman shift completely? Or did you once follow her script and disappear into the crowd? Share your experience below. Your insight might be the spark another man needs today. And remember, real power is quiet, real presence is calm, and the man who rewrites the script, without ever needing the spotlight, is the one who stays burned into her memory. Number 6. Give her attention, then take it away. Men, listen carefully. This is not just advice. This is a directive for every man who's tired of chasing and ready to become the one who is chased. In today's world, too many men give away their power the moment they get a sliver of female attention. They mistake being nice for being needed, and what starts as interest quickly mutates into obsession, on their part, not hers. They flood her with compliments, overextend themselves with time and energy, and unknowingly dilute their own value. Why? Because they lack contrast. And contrast, gentlemen, is king. Constant attention kills desire. It doesn't spark emotion, it numbs it. You must understand this. A man who is always available, always giving, always there, is not perceived as strong, secure, or masculine. He becomes background noise. Predictable, forgettable. Women are not drawn to desperation. They are drawn to energy that is rare, mysterious, and in control of itself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." But being good doesn't mean being emotionally weak or endlessly accessible. A man of power is a man of presence and absence. He knows when to give and when to pull back. He lets her feel his presence deeply, but then he vanishes. Not to punish her, not to manipulate, but to create the sacred tension that drives desire. You must become the storm that passes, then returns without warning. The fire that warms, then disappears, leaving her cold and craving your flame again. This is not cruelty. This is strategy. This is psychological gravity. And it works, because she will chase what she can't fully possess. If you want to be loved, said Seneca, love yourself first. That means you stop waiting by the phone. You stop measuring your worth by her replies. You give her moments of deep magnetic connection, and then you go live your damn life. You train, you work, you build, you grow, you disappear. And when she feels the gap your presence left, she'll start questioning everything. She'll replay your conversations. She'll crave your energy. She'll check her phone with restless fingers and an anxious heart. That is power. That is control. That is attraction born from absence. Remember, what is constant becomes invisible. What is unpredictable becomes unforgettable. This is your edge. This is how obsession begins, not by smothering her, but by letting her miss you. Most men will never grasp this because they're too afraid to pull back. But not you. Not anymore. Don't be needy. Don't be the entertainer. Don't be the filler of silence. Be the silence that echoes in her mind. Be the void she wants to fill. Be the man she can't figure out, but can't walk away from. Give her attention, then take it away. Let her feel that void. Let her hunger for your return. And when she starts chasing you, that's when you've won. That's when she doesn't just want you, she needs you. Now, if this hit you like a punch of truth, then hit that like, drop a comment below saying, "I am the storm." And don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't just content. It's your new blueprint for mastery. Number 7. Pull away when she wants you close. When a woman starts showing more interest, texting more, calling often, maybe even getting a little clingy, most men make the classic mistake. They think, finally, I've got her. Now I just need to give her even more attention so I don't lose her. So they lean in, hard. They become available 24/7, respond instantly, and start showering her with affection. But that's exactly when you need to do the opposite. Here's a truth that's hard to accept, but impossible to ignore once you understand it. Women don't become obsessed with men who are always available. They become obsessed with men who know how to create emotional tension. And one of the most powerful ways to create that tension is to pull away, right when she starts pulling in. Not ghosting, not playing games, just becoming slightly less available than she wants you to be, just enough to spark uncertainty in her mind. Because of that uncertainty, that's what gets her thinking. That unanswered text, that small delay in making plans, that quiet pause when she expected a reply, that's when her thoughts started racing. Is he losing interest? Did I say something wrong? Why am I thinking about this so much? That emotional tension is addictive, because here's the thing. Women crave emotional stimulation. Predictability is the death of attraction. When she knows she has you completely, when there's no challenge left, the thrill dies. But when she feels like she almost has you, but not quite, you activate a deeper, more primal part of her psychology. She becomes curious. She starts chasing. And that's exactly where you want her. Engaged, intrigued, and hooked. Most men are terrified to pull back, especially when everything seems to be going well. But that fear is exactly what holds them back. When you resist the urge to pour on affection and instead stay grounded in your own center, you become the man she can't figure out, and that's irresistible. You show her something rare, a man with options, a man who doesn't need her to feel complete, a man who wants her but doesn't depend on her. That kind of energy is magnetic. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about setting the pace. You don't speed up just because she does. You don't validate every emotion, and you don't respond to every message instantly. You maintain a sense of mystery. You stay composed. That emotional space keeps her on her toes, keeps her interested, and keeps her chasing. And here's the kicker. When you do show affection, it hits harder. It means more. Because now she knows it's genuine. It's not driven by desperation, it's deliberate. A gift, not a plea. That moment you pull away when she expects you to lean in. That's when you create emotional gravity. That's when she leans in harder, tries to understand you, tries to earn you again. And that is where you want her. Because in that space between certainty and doubt is where obsession lives. In a world full of men trying too hard, the man who knows how to pause, who knows how to stay rooted in his own value, stands out like a beacon. Don't chase, lead, don't beg, own your worth. Be the man who doesn't need to be needed. That's the man who never gets forgotten. All right, brother, before we go, let me leave you with this. If even one idea from this video hit home, let it sink in. This isn't just about women, and it's not about games or manipulation. These 7 psychological shifts are about becoming a man who doesn't chase approval, he radiates presence. A man who doesn't beg for attention, he commands it without saying a word. When you hold your silence, when you break old patterns, when you stay calm while others lose control, you're not just leveling up in relationships, you're leveling up in life. This is about becoming the kind of man who walks into any room and doesn't need to prove a damn thing. Power isn't something outside of you, it's something you carry. Every day, in how you speak, in how you wait, in how you choose stillness over chaos. So my advice, practice this. Don't just watch, live it. Let your silence speak louder than your words ever could. If this sparked something real in you, subscribe now. Because this space is built for men who are done chasing, done pretending, and ready to lead, with calm strength and unshakable presence. Stay grounded, stay sharp. And above all, stay true to the man you are meant to become.